He's a Las Vegas man who claims he can summon UFOs on command. Pretty wild. So we sent Action News reporter Mike Delastrito to get the real story. But what he found shocked everyone and could leave you wondering, are UFOs real?
There is a connection between the paranormal, UFOs, and the myths of ancient history. The clues are scattered across the landscape from a forbidden past, maybe even in your own backyard. There is a connection between the true nature of our reality, consciousness, and the unexplained. I'm Carl the Crusher. Let's explore the unknown. Welcome back, Crusher Crew. We are back on the trail, going back to our spot where we are experimenting with telepathy, remote viewing, psionic contact methods, as far as contacting paranormal phenomena, UFOs, all kinds of high strangeness. You guys know I've been up to Skinwalker Ranch several times, Blind Frog Ranch. I've been part of Project Hestelin over in Norway and been doing this for several years now. And it's time that we go out to our own location, our own specific spot that we have with no light pollution. This is just a few miles behind my house. In fact, I have my trip meter on right now to try and track how far it is from my driveway to get to this spot that we're going. And we've already filmed another set of videos here before. If you haven't watched them yet, make sure and go back and watch part 1 and 2. And there's a lot of other small clips that I have as well, so that you can catch up on what we're doing. But basically, we have these UFO whistleblowers that are coming out of these special forces, special operations groups that are Green Beret, Delta Force operators in the Air Force and all kinds of stuff, like Jacob Barber and these guys, nuclear commanders. And they're talking about how they use telepathy or remote viewing. They call it psionics or psionic assets, where you do remote viewing to contact UFOs, and these things will come out of the ground or out of the mesa or right out of the mountain. And the idea is that you can use telepathy or remote viewing methods, and you can actually summon these objects and this phenomena. And so the idea is it shouldn't matter daytime or nighttime. We should be able to do this and be able to witness and film UAP. In fact, earlier in this series, we may have already done that, but we did it at night, and this phenomena just appeared down at the bottom of the mesa over here, and it just like appeared in the shape of a glowing egg, like a big egg on the ground, and then it vanished. And then we tried to film it with the night vision. We couldn't get any more evidence of that, and so it just like disappeared. So we're gonna try and drive back out there and see, is there like a campground over there? Could it have been something else? We're gonna try to debunk that today, as well as look around, do the meditation, try to see what we can see in the daytime, and also continue the research in tonight. I have also got my night vision, my thermal imagers all charged up and cleaned off, so we should be good to go. First thing that I wanna do is go back to the spot that we were previously, to that same kind of little open area, and look at the point of view, and then see if we can drive out there and find if there's a spot to park or see what's actually there, if there's any ancient artifacts. I did notice that there is another road that parallels over to this side of the valley over here, and it goes right up along the base of the Red Rock Mesa over there. So we might have to backtrack and head over that way quite a ways to see if we can get over there. It might be cool too if we can follow a trail or a road to get up on top of that Red Rock Mesa over there, so we have an even better lookout for when we're sky watching. First time we came here, I sort of just picked like the first spot that looked good, and we were down in the bottom of the valley, and I wonder if we got a better spot sort of halfway up on the mesa or further back in the canyon and immersed ourselves back in there, if we'd have a better point of view and a better lookout. If we could see down in, then we would be able to identify if there actually was any campers or RVs or vehicles or things like that. Whereas if it's just like a rise in the valley, and then if somebody's like parked on the other side of a hill, their light could shine up over the hill and cause all kinds of like different mirages and illusions and stuff like that. So I want to try to avoid all that, pick a really good spot where we have a great lookout, and we'll see what we can find. I had to really slow down right here too, because like, first of all, up on top of one of these ridges would be a really amazing spot to park, but down in the valley here is all these little lower rock outcroppings, and I wonder if there is any artifacts or if there's any petroglyphs around any of these lower bluffs, because it could be a clue. I need to look on Google Earth and come hike around all of these to see, because if there's any medicine wheels or ritual artifacts, then that would be a good sign that we're in the right place. We already know from previous episodes that there is tons of artifacts as far as petroglyphs and all kinds of ruins, pictographs, and even dinosaur footprints and things up in this valley. So it is really worth it to go hike around and look in these different spots. We could find anything. The potential is really high. Well, this is the spot that we parked last time, and now there's a whole camper and a truck parked there. So that answers that question. We're gonna have to keep going up the road and find our own spot. They've got a great view. That was my choice number one, but they've got the campground picked out there. So we're gonna have to find another spot. So here we go, further up the road. Now where we saw the weird light down on the valley, do you see what I mean? The ground goes up and rises, and we were looking up over there, so there could have been somebody parked over there or a flashlight or whatever. I don't think so, but it's possible. So let's drive up here and see if we can follow the road and get over there. Over here to the west of me is also a giant mesa that runs all the way up this valley, and then like I said, back over there, clear back up in those canyons, is loads of ancient petroglyphs. So we're on the other end of the valley now. Do not cross when flooded. It did rain 2 days ago, like violently out here, so I haven't seen any mud or any rain left over like in puddles or anything. But yeah, down in these little gullies it can get totally washed out and wet. So that's one potential, is coming out here and getting stuck, but so far we've picked pretty good weather. Now this is the way that I think. It looks like there is a trail that goes here, and then it looks like there's another trail that comes up and over here, but this is more like a motocross trail. So let's go up this. It looks like side by sides go up here. It is definitely rutted out. We might have to go backtrack up and around and follow that other road that goes clear up along this mesa and see if we can't get closer. We'll try it for now. Remember last time we came out here, by the time we got out, we hit so many bumps and big rocks driving out on these dirt roads that all 4 of my tires were going flat and had we're like 10 pounds low of tire pressure. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on it. Luckily I can flip through the different settings and check. This is super weird though, because where I saw the light was coming out of the ground right over here. And unless it was, this is actually making less and less sense that it was a camper. It could have been a motorcycle or a 4-wheeler, because there is a trail. We are going on the trail, and this is a big rut. But from where we saw the light, it is making less sense to me that it would be people. This is totally rutted out. Like, this is not meant for a pickup truck like I'm driving right now. This is meant for UTVs and 4-wheelers and stuff. Motorcycles for sure. Yeah, see, I'm scraping bottom. I'm gonna back up. We're gonna go a different way. Let's try to go back up and around. It could have been, I guess, somebody on a motorcycle up here, but the angle of where I think it was farther over that way on the other side. Let's see if we can get over there. I actually made it. Found a different little trail coming around here. It's still very rutted out and rough, so I'm gonna go really slow and see how far I can make it up this trail. But because if I can get on the top of this, I might at least have a point of view to see if there could have been anybody up here. This is the end of the road for me as far as this trail goes. I was able to make it all the way up here, even though this is more like a four-wheeler trail. But this little Chevy Colorado is a pretty cool truck. But yeah, I'm clear out here in the desert. There's a little airplane flying overhead there. This is as far as I can go. I'm definitely not gonna try to drive up this. I could probably make it to there, but then that shelf right there is the end of it for me. I would definitely bottom out and scrape on that. But it does look like there is a four-wheeler trail that kind of goes up over here. But here's the thing, where we saw the light was clear over there against the bottom of the mesa, and we only made it halfway and the trail ends. The dirt road that we were on keeps going clear back over there to the west. So in order to try and get to where we saw that light on the ground, it was either somewhere out here, like in the foreground of the desert, or it was up and over, clear back over there against the foothills of the mesa. So I think what we need to do is go back, clear up this road that we came up, and try to find a different trail to get on the other side of this. It looks like there could be another trail that goes over there, get around there and see if we can figure out where that light was. I know that there is a real difficulty when it comes to seeing night vision footage on camera compared to what I saw being here in person. And so it's totally fair to watch the footage and be like, it just looks like it could be a flashlight or somebody parked over there on the ground. I get it. If you're not here in person, it's hard to explain. It could have totally just been a satellite in the sky and then some light down on the ground. When you're here in person, it totally looks like this weird light in the sky that's moving and changing angles in different directions. And then you feel like something's watching you. You look down, and then what I saw looked like a big glowing egg out here in the valley, or like right over there at the bottom of the mesa. So I really want to try to find the spot and see where it could have been. Definitely wasn't here. The angle from where the parking spot is to up here is not even correct. If somebody was parked right here, I definitely would have seen the vehicle. Like in the daytime from the campground, it's a clear shot. If it was somebody parked right here, I would have seen them. I would have been able to see a car. I would have been able to see a UTV, because I can look right there. I can see the big camper, RV, and all of that. So if it was somebody parked closer right here, it doesn't even look like the right angle. It was more clear over there. So we need to try again. I'm confident that where this road ends is not where I saw the egg. It was way over there, way closer to the side of the mesa, and we didn't even make it halfway there. So we're gonna have to backtrack, try and find another way around and see if we can explain it, because we might have to go back to where we were parked and really look at the line of sight, because I'm pretty convinced there's no way that this was it. I get to drive back out this crazy trail and try not to get high centered. I mean, I gotta get new brakes too. These are starting to squeak on me. I'm telling you, this is not the angle, and there is nothing out here. We are in the middle of nowhere. It's so crazy. In the last episode, we went to the dinosaur tracks, the old fortress, and the petroglyphs, and you can actually see it from here now. Clear over there. That is the canyon with all of the petroglyphs and the fortress right there. And then the dinosaur tracks are right, pretty much right over there. So right there and right there, we're right in the middle of all of it. And over my shoulder here behind me, this goes clear to the south. That is nothing but open desert and badlands into Arizona for miles and miles and miles, all the way. That's just nothing but Arizona. You go that way and it goes into Nevada. It's just like There's nothing. There's no cities. There's no town. You go that way far enough, and then you head a little bit east, and the next thing that you're going to see is just the rim of the Grand Canyon. There's literally, there's nothing out here. I'm just scraping bottom trying to get out of here too. See, so this is all technically right on the border, the southern edge of Utah. So all of that is all technically Arizona right out there. So tons and tons and tons of potential for artifacts and unknown stuff out here. This road could go somewhere. Before we backtrack and go the other way, let's see how far we can make it up here before it gets rutted out and we have to turn around. If we can even turn around. I mean, it was kind of a pickle trying to turn around on that last spot. No way. These are all meant for four-wheelers or UTVs, and my truck is not gonna cut it. Every time I try to go through some of these dips, they're like washed out from the recent rain. Look at these. I'm trying to drive through these little cracks and shit. And I'm gonna get stuck out here in the desert if I'm not careful. So we're gonna get back more on a little bit of a better road, trying to find another way around. Trying to find spots to drive across this stuff. And I'm out here by myself. I totally mangled all the gears on my e-bikes too. I've got these VeloWave bikes, these electric bikes that this company has sent me. One of them has got flat tires, and the other one I bashed on a rock and I mangled all the gears on. But once I get my e-bikes working again, we could come out here, drive the truck up as close as we could get, offload the e-bike, and then drive up that way a lot farther. Or, you know, we could work our way up and get a four-wheeler or UTV and try to make our way out here too. All right, so now we're back more on this main dirt road. If we wanted to go try to find the back way to get to where the dinosaur tracks are, we would go this way. If we want to go try to find our way around to the other spot where the weird light was on the ground, we got to go this way. So I think this is the path we're going to go today. As soon as we figure out the spot that we're supposed to be for today, we're going to set up and we're going to do the research. It looks like the clouds have kind of blown off. We're getting clear skies. So as soon as we get set up, like we've talked about before, it should not matter daytime or night. If we do the right kind of meditation or telepathic contact, we should be able to see UFOs, UAP in the sky right during the daytime. We shouldn't have to wait until in the night. And even all of the stories and the reports, most of the time, these UFOs, they're not really even flying in the sky. They're coming out of the ground, like they're ultra terrestrial or interdimensional. Like they live in some kind of a frequency right below ours, right alongside of us, and they sort of phase right out of the mountain, right out of the mesa, right out of the ground, and they appear. So I don't know, it's a real mystery. I don't think it matters daytime or nighttime. We should be able to do it. Now we're coming back up on the spot that we were parked last time, and I can tell with full confidence that where we just were and where we drove up was completely the wrong spot. Yeah, where we were able to just drive and almost get stuck in the truck was completely the wrong angle. It was way too far south. Where we saw the egg UAP was a lot closer and more to the east. So where we got to was more in the valley and way too far south and in the wrong direction in the line of sight. So it definitely was not it. I just think this is so cool. Look at how you have two completely different colored mountains here, these mesas. This one's completely like oxidized. You've got the red colored sandstone, and then this is all like just this tan greenish colored, but they all run together into the same canyon. Every so often I stop, I get out, and I turn around. I'm trying to get the line of sight to figure out where this egg-shaped UAP could have been. I don't know. Brakes are starting to squeak like crazy doing all of this backcountry driving, but I'll tell you what, I think we're coming to the end of where this could have been, or the possible route. I don't have any idea. What is this? The historic Honeymoon Trail? What the hell is this? This kind of feels like the spot, dude. Like, I don't know. I had no idea. I'm gonna park here for a second. I'm gonna pull off out of the way and then get out and take a look at this and see where we are. We're down in a dip now and we're too far away. I know for a fact that this isn't the spot. It's got to be further back up that way, and it was more against the side of the mesa. So one of these trails that cuts off over here between where we were parked and the historic Honeymoon Trail was where we saw that thing come out of the mountain. And this was the mountain. This was the mesa, whatever that was down on the ground, that glowing ball of light. I don't know, but we'll look around. But the historic Honeymoon Trail, the top of this just is a bunch of warnings about traveling in the desert and how dangerous it is, having 2 spare tires, knowing the local conditions, carry a gallon of water per person. You have to have 4-wheel drive and know where you're going. Tell people where you're going. I haven't done any of those. I do have 4-wheel drive and I do have food and water, but we'll be okay. We're not going to go too far. This says the Honeymoon Trail is known as the Old Arizona Road. It was a series of wagon routes taken by the early LDS saints known as the Mormons from Arizona to southern Utah. Joseph Fish traveled along the Honeymoon Trail, and then he says, we found but little grass, no water to speak of. Occasionally there was little in holes along the bed, and then he just goes on and talks about, it says hundreds of people used the Honeymoon Trail, and many of them would make camp in locations such as where you stand right now. Is this why we saw the weird light up here down here? Is it more like a haunted canyon thing than anything else? Is this some like Honeymoon Trail ghost lights phenomena? So now we have validation from the dinosaur footprints. We have the ancient petroglyphs. We have the white settler fortress up there. And then we have the Honeymoon Trail on this end of the canyon where old Mormon pioneers used to camp right here. So it's like a really fascinating crossroads with tons of interesting geology and energy. So it's very possible that right up here in one of these canyons, right up along the edge of the mesa, is where we're seeing this weird stuff appear. I probably can't make it very far up this little trail, but I just want to see what's on top here. If there's a spot to park, this might be the perfect place to actually stay for our night watch, but it looks like there's too many big rocks and we're gonna have to just turn around right here. I know that this video is a lot of just driving in the truck, but that's what a lot of this kind of field expedition is trying to probe back into these canyons and see what's there. When you find a spot that has ruins or artifacts where there's interesting phenomena, that's where you set up your base camp. So again, this is just another whooped out ATV trail. This is not meant for a truck, but we're getting close to where I feel like the right spot is, where we saw that light. I think we need to go farther up the road there, a little bit back towards the Honeymoon Trail spot. Again, and this is all obscured, so this isn't the right spot. I don't think that canyon is it. It feels close. It could be somewhere between that canyon and that Honeymoon Trail spot that we pulled off a second ago. I'm on foot now. I'm gonna try to walk up on top of this little knoll. There's this little hill out here. I want to see if I can get line of sight back on where we were parked the original night when we saw the weird light on the ground. I'm going to stand on top of the hill and see if I can actually triangulate it, because I feel like it was like over there. I keep looking up in this canyon. That's where I parked my truck, and I'm going to walk back here. I keep looking up in this canyon like it could have been in this foothill, but I feel like it was honestly right there, or it was more like further up the road and in that spot where the that Honeymoon Trail was. So I'm gonna go up on this ridge, follow this little motorcycle trail right here, and see if we can't figure all that out. The other thing that's occurring to me now by doing this is that whatever that light was obviously a lot bigger than I thought. It was farther away than I thought, and which means it had to have been a lot larger. The potential for finding arrowheads or artifacts is really high too. One of the little tricks is whenever you find an ant hill, like a fire ant mound, where it looks like piles of sand, they'll dig up artifacts. They'll dig up pottery or arrowheads and surface them sometimes. So look around those, or where you can see where the water runs down, you can also find them there. This is just like a little hill out in the middle of nowhere, but you never know. It could have been used as a lookout. Like I said, we know that there's artifacts all over there. So, okay, I think I have an idea of where we're at. Let's see. Let's look around for line of sight. The spot that we were parked is over there. When we just tried to drive up earlier in this video where we ended up, we drove up from over there and we ended up on top of all those little foothills that look white on the top, like those lines going across the middle there. So we ended up kind of right over there, and the parking spot is over there. Line of sight to see the egg is like more, it's like more right there. That's interesting. You know, it could have been just a vehicle on this road that was parked. I think we need to go up and park, just find a spot up right next to the mountain, next to the edge of the mesa, near that Honeymoon Trail area, and see what happens tonight. If we do a base camp there and do our meditation, maybe that's a good spot. Trying to figure it out. I don't see anywhere else other than the fact that we're driving on the road. There is a second road clear over here, and it does go all the way up here. So the potential for it being a vehicle or a camper or somebody in a tent turning their light on and off. But the fact that this is a lot farther away than I thought. I mean, when I drive on the way out of here tonight, I'm gonna have to reset the trip meter. But to get from my house to the place that we were parked was just a little over 6 miles. And so I don't know if there is some kind of a weird hitchhiker phenomena or anything that could follow me home or back to my house or happen simultaneously. The potential is definitely there. Of course, if we're talking about weird quantum entanglements and things, then space-time and distance and things like that don't even matter. But I think it's significant that the sensor is really close. It's just like 6 miles away, basically. But the line of sight is really puzzling. I cannot figure out where that big ball of light could have been coming from, unless it was just somewhere right along this road, maybe even where I'm parked right now. But part of this is following our intuition. We've been talking about doing remote viewing and telepathy work, and my intuition feels like there's a reason that we found that sign that talks about the Honeymoon Trail. We're gonna have to look into the history of these canyons, and maybe there was an old cemetery or a place where some people were buried, or some more ruins close by. Usually if there was people camping here when the Mormon pioneers came through, then usually there was people camping here for thousands of years and they just adopted it. So we're gonna have to look around. There's like a whole canyon. There totally could be stuff back in here. This is definitely a spot where people park. Could it have been somebody parked in a vehicle right here? There's like a little fire pit. Boy, I tell you what though, this is a way better lookout. We would be able to see any vehicles coming and going. This is a way better spot. regardless. I'm almost 100% certain that this is the spot. This is like the canyon right here where we saw the weird light. If it was a vehicle or if it was somebody with a flashlight, there's a fire pit, so it definitely could have been. The only thing I will say is that I'm pretty sure that with night vision, or even during the daytime, because I was here panning my camera around, I think we would have been able to see a vehicle. There's clear line of sight. I can see all the way down in the background from the fire pit. Straight shot, I can see that camper parked there where we were parked last time. So this is it. So the question is, and here comes a UTV. This is the place to park. This is where we need to park to do our research from now on, because there's no way for anybody to come up from any other angle. It's got a fire pit, so we could do fire pits out here and camp and stay out at night. And we will be able to see for miles anybody coming from any direction, because this is like the end of the road. It comes all the way up here, and then you hit the Honeymoon Trail area right here, down in that canyon right behind me, where this UTV is headed. So if it was somebody parked here, or a tent camping, or somebody with a flashlight, then I'm pretty sure that this was the spot, and this could have been it. And you can see, if I'm gonna zoom all the way in. See that little white square in the middle right there? Can I even show you? Right in the middle, my finger's the size of the whole screen zoomed in. You can see the RVs right there, that camper parked. That's where we were last time. And so here's the question. Don't you think you would have been able to see a vehicle parked here? Maybe not. I can clearly see them now, but I guess if it was just like a person with camouflage tent, maybe we could just see it glowing. But whatever that was big. It was like a big ball of light, and it seemed like it was right here. So who knows? It could have been something here, could have been a person, could have been people camping. But there's also this whole canyon that could be full of artifacts, right? This just all seems like a big washout for runoff. Who knows? Whatever we filmed was here though. Yeah, that's too loose. I can't hike up there. It's just like loose gravel. I don't see any caves or ruins. Petroglyphs. It just looks like a creek runoff, like the rain washes down here. But this is it. This is the spot for sure. Wow, look at that sky. This is definitely the spot though. This is the correct line of sight. I can see where we were parked last time, right down there, and we were able to drive up and park here. But this is crazy where I'm standing right now. If this is where, if it was a UFO, if it was a UAP that came out of the ground and appeared because we were meditating, I gotta show you exactly where I'm walking right now. All right, so I feel like that big bright object or whatever it was either somebody parked right here where I am at this fire pit, and we had direct line of sight from the truck parked clear over there, or, I mean, look at this. It is in direct line of sight and path. This is the canyon straight over here with all of the ancient petroglyphs right there. And it flows right up. This is the exact same valley, and I'm parked right at the point of it, right at the end, right there. And it's like unavoidable. I feel totally compelled. Like, that's where we're supposed to be. This is where we saw the light, but I mean, this could have totally been campers. We know there's ancient artifacts over there. It's just mind-blowing that all of this is right here behind my house. So we have some choices right now. We could make this base camp right here where we saw the light appear, and we could sit here and do the meditation tonight and see what happens. Or we could drive over and actually park at the canyon and do it. And then I also know on the other end of that canyon, if we follow it out the other side, is the Little Black Rock Mesa, or Little Black Mountain, and that has a whole bunch of ancient petroglyphs that are very mysterious. So we could drive over and park and do everything there, or we could stay right here and do our contact protocol meditation right here where we saw the light and see if anything appears. It feels like this entire valley and whole region has got to be haunted. I had no idea that it was the Honeymoon Trail that the Mormon pioneers came up. I had no idea. So I mean, there's definitely got to be people, lots of people that died on this trail, going along this path and traveling. And then you got all the ancient petroglyphs over there. Should we stay here? That's pretty cool. Let's sit here. It shouldn't matter, daytime or nighttime, right? It shouldn't matter. Let's stay here for a little while and see what happens. This is the point of view. So I just put my camp chair down here right by the fire pit. I'm gonna sit here. I've got this entire field of view. Sky is clear over here to the south, a little bit hazy and cloudy up above me. But now we're gonna do the contact protocol. I really don't think it should matter daytime or nighttime if we come out here and do this. It's like the entire concept of, like, if you're gonna go paranormal ghost hunting, why do you have to do it in the dark? Would ghosts or spirits care if it's in the daytime or the nighttime? I can tell you, as far as it goes with the MUPA system, with the Modular Unidentified Phenomena Alert System, it doesn't matter. A lot of the phenomena, encounters, interactions, and reports that I type into there as my journal entries are in the middle of the day. I'll be sitting in my office doing work, and I'll get kind of a strange altered state of consciousness. I'll have like a pressure shift or like a whistling in one of my ears, and then I'll kind of meditate into that, and it will become like almost like a whole dream or a vision of experiences that I end up logging into the journal. I don't think it will matter, even if in the daytime, if we sit here and do the right meditation, the reverse remote viewing like we've talked about earlier, we could definitely see something. There's also a trail I just noticed is sitting here behind me from where I think that Honeymoon Trail road forks off, and I tried to drive up and got stuck. I just noticed a UTV actually drive all the way up this ridge behind me to get on top. And so from where we're parked right here, and also a road that drives up right there, a dirt road that goes up onto the top of this mesa, could have been a vehicle anywhere in this junction here. But the idea of this Honeymoon Trail, this whole area, the Petroglyph Canyon, right over there is where the fossilized dinosaur footprints are. I'm looking right out over the valley where all of this is. I mean, that light that was over here that looked like an egg, it could have been a vehicle. There's definitely UTVs and different vehicles driving around, and I was able to drive up here in my truck and park, so we have to take all of that into account. But again, like we said, it shouldn't matter daytime or nighttime. So I'm gonna sit here in the spot. We're gonna run the field research. I'm gonna do the meditation. Let's see if we can get an egg UAP or something strange to appear in the sky in broad daylight while we're sitting right here. All right, so what's all this talk about remote viewing, reverse remote viewing, CE5, contact protocol, the gateway method? Rather than just talking about it, I'm going to sit here and do it with you guys while I record it, and I'm just going to say my thoughts and my internal processes out loud. So I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the gateway protocol, but it was invented by the Monroe Institute, Bob Monroe, and they called it the gateway method. And basically what you're doing is we're going to be taking our internal visualizations, like you would call it your daydreaming or your imagination, and rather than just letting that go on autopilot, what we're doing is we're actually going to focus that like you would as a lucid dreamer or in intense focused meditation. We're going to pay attention to our thoughts and we're going to harness them. So as we sit here, I'm going to pay attention to my internal dialogue, the commentary going along in my mind and my thoughts. Here I'm making a video. I've got all that chatter going on. And what I want to do is I want to clear my mind of all of that. So as I'm narrating and I'm talking to you, I'm going to visualize and imagine that I kind of place that in some sort of an automated system, like in the wall. I'm imagining that there's like a volume and a speaker. I'm projecting my consciousness into that, and so it's going to narrate that. I have my sunglasses on, but right now I'm going to sit here with my eyes closed as I get into this visualization, just so you know. So I'm imagining right now like I'm in this imaginary space in my mind, and in front of me there is this box. There is this magic energy conversion box, cosmic conversion box. And I'm going to go open the lid. I'm going to put in all my problems inside that box. I lift up the lid, put all my negative energy, any kind of distractions, anything from home, anything about my day-to-day life that's in the way, all of that goes in the box so I can keep it out of the way of what we're about to do. I visualize that, and I imagine within myself that I'm putting all of that in the box. And I'm going to close the lid, and inside that box has this powerful energy capable of just handling all of those problems. And when I open the lid, the only thing that can come out is the solutions to all of my problems and things that can help me, or the manifestation that I'm looking for. In this instance, what we want to manifest is a UFO. We want to see something in the sky or in the valley. And then as I start to talk about it at that level, now I'm opening my eyes. I visualize that my voice and my narration, my consciousness is sort of over in this automated system to sit here and narrate for you on its own, so I don't have to think about it. Meanwhile, I'm in this altered state of consciousness to where now I'm perceiving the electromagnetic field and visualizing that I'm here in the ley lines in the sacred node of the energy of this canyon, where we have these longitudinal scalar waves and the transverse electromagnetic field waves of the universe coming in from the sky and down to us, and it creates this matrix of this physical reality to where we sit here. I'm right here by the fire pit. Here in the valley, there's the ancient petroglyphs, the dinosaur tracks. I'm just going to immerse myself into that and visualize like I'm here. And now I'm also going to overlap that with this visualization in my mind, that all of this is like a hologram. All of this is like a solid state drive in a computer or a simulation. It's all waveform of energy. It's all different density layers of energy vibrating, that is vibrating into each other in different patterns, like big spirals, like DNA strands that are spiraling together in this caduceus, like a coherent pattern where we are going to connect with our brain waves into this electromagnetic field. So what we're going to do is now I'm going to imagine my field of awareness going from inside my mind, and now I am expanding it out over into the valley, into the canyon, and up into space, like a beacon, like a radar signal. And I'm just going to pulse that out, and I'm going to visualize that it's going out. And in my mind, I'm going to go quiet now, but I'm going to count from 1 up to 10. And as I do that, this beacon of awareness is going to project out into the valley, and I'm going to invite anything that can hear me telepathically to arrive, to appear. And you can appear on the ground or in the valley or up in the sky, and allow us to film it. And sometimes I imagine like a drop of water coming down from space, like cosmic energy, and washing out through the valley right over top of me, and then going whoop, like a drop of water back up into space like a beacon. And it's like telling anything that's out there exactly where we are and that it can come and appear. And as we do this, we start to look around and we start to look up in the sky, and we go really quiet in our mind, and we just continue that pattern of visualization. And we're not begging for anything, we're not asking, we're not pleading, we're not saying please appear, we're not doing it from an energy of lacking or needing or wanting anything. We're doing this like a positive collaboration, like this is going to be a fun experience. And so while we get into that mindset, I'm going to sit here and just resonate with that for a little while, and then we're going to keep our eyes in the valley and in the sky, and we have all day to do it. In the gateway method, there is a much deeper, longer process. You can get into it like 30 minutes long. Sometimes I'll do this for hours at different levels and different depths. But the basic part of it is just getting into that mindset and projecting your location out and your intentions out with positivity. The first time that I saw this was a guy down in Vegas, and his name was like Noah or Moses. It was literally like a biblical prophet's name. And he even had a news crew, a film news crew, come and film him. And he stood in the park in broad daylight and summoned a UFO in the sky, and the news crew totally filmed it.
He's a Las Vegas man who claims he can summon UFOs on command. Pretty wild. So we sent Action News reporter Mike Delastrito to get the real story. But what he found shocked everyone and could leave you wondering, are UFOs real?
And forget the short-term fixes and diets that don't work. Kathy Ray has a plan for every lifestyle to help you win the battle of the bulge.
Breaking news, solving problems. This is Channel 13 Action News, live at 11.
Well, let's take another trip back into the realm of paranormal tonight. Last night we had ghost hunters, now UFOs.
That's right, and there is a Las Vegas guy making an extraordinary claim about extraterrestrials. So we sent Action News reporter Mike Delastrito to check it out. Mike?
All right, guys, just listen up here. This guy says the Old Testament, written in Hebrew, taught him how to summon UFOs. All right, he says he can also do this on command, and he adds he's been doing it for 25 years, keeping all of it secret until now.
These beings are here. They are here. They're just sitting right up there.
We met up with Prophet Yahweh, seer of Yahweh at Doolittle Park off Lake Mead. We picked the day, we picked the time, and we picked the location. Everyone's going to think you're absolutely nuts.
Well, I thought I was absolutely nuts.
Until he says he saw UFOs. Over the years, 1,500 of them.
Can we make it 1,501 today? What do you think?
I'll try it.
He says the voice in his head told him to go public now, so we took him up on his offer, and we scanned the skies. Nothing but a few clouds. When the prophet started praying for a sighting, I wasn't exactly convinced.
I pray, oh Yahweh, that you send a sighting so that they know that I am not mentally ill. I am not a false prophet, like those who seek to kill me say I am.
I see something straight up.
Oh, brother, look at it. There it is.
You can barely see it, a white speck. Then another sighting.
There it is. I got it.
Photojournalist Jonathan Hawkins locks in on it. Let's take a closer look here. It's an orange sphere that appeared out of nowhere. I call the boss with an unexpected change in my story.
I could see it clear as day. In fact, it's bright.
I can't believe this.
It's moving pretty fast.
It's going to Nellis Air Force Base. It wants to be seen.
We called Nellis to see what these things might be. Guess what? They didn't call us back. But this thing started coming back toward us.
It's coming toward us now, I think.
What?
See, it's coming up toward us.
Whoa, man! Oh, hallelujah!
Then, a few seconds later, it disappeared.
It's going back up in space.
Prophet Yahweh isn't concerned. He says it'll be back. And I'm still not quite sure what those things were. Now, if I didn't see this for myself, I probably would have just laughed this whole thing off. Prophet Yahweh says, though, this is just the beginning. He says we're going to see a lot more of these things starting next week. And he says one will come down low enough for all of Las Vegas to see. Mike Dell'Ostrito, Channel 13 Action News.
Interesting. You know what? If anybody knows what that was, please call Mike Dell'Ostrito and identify that object.
So, Jerry, do you mind if we play the X-Files theme song while you do what?
Yeah, really.
I think I can handle it.
Yeah.
No comment on that. Let's, from a scientific point of view, let's go right to early warning desert Doppler. And, you know, that's not the best for picking up UFOs, but I'll tell you, it's pretty good for thunderstorms, all kinds of wacky convective activities in the atmosphere.
This guy would basically stand outside and he would just like face in a certain direction, and he would put his hands like this, like he was like offering or pleading almost in prayer, and look up in the sky. And he would say that he was like a prophet of God to Yahweh, and he would look up at the sky and basically summon these objects, these orbs, these white spheres that would float around above him. And I remember even hearing George Knapp talk about him in the news as well. It might have been even the same news station that went and filmed that with him a long time ago. But now, if any of you guys follow Chris Bledsoe, he's a good friend of mine. He does this all the time on the regular in his own backyard. And before you even, scoff that off like it's this not real, he does it all the time. He posts the videos on his Instagram all the time. And he's followed right there with Colonel John Alexander. He's had people from NASA. I know that he's even delivered UFO metamaterials from his backyard to Lou Elizondo that are now part of the UFO metamaterials research. This is like liquid metal that drips off the bottom of these orbs or these plasma spheres or UFOs that appear sometimes. And one of them was so close, like in the property, or they witnessed it, that this stuff dripped off the bottom and fell on the ground, and then Lou Elizondo came and collected it from Chris Bledsoe. But Chris Bledsoe does this exact same thing, this UFO manifestation, where he sits outside sometimes for a couple of hours and does this meditation, and then they appear. These beings or entities appear like craft. And then Jacob Barber, these Delta Force operators, talk about the same things. Now here's where it gets fascinating. I have actually worked with one of Jacob Barber's psionic assets before. I can't say who it is, and I can't talk about where, but I've actually done psionic contact protocol meditations with one of Jacob Barber's psionic team members that's an active member of his team right now. And years ago, we worked together on a different project, and I know that this stuff is valid. I know that there's something real to this, and that's why I come out here by myself and do it all the time. And I think it's a process. It's a building up of a relationship. There's patterns to this. There's energetic movement to this, almost like catching a wave surfing. And there's different synchronicities that you have to pay attention to. There's a lot of spiritual involvement that goes along with paying attention to your dreams, intuitions, synchronicities, and coincidences, and then following that patterns, and then also the ancient indigenous clues of the petroglyphs and all of that. So we're in the right place, they're in the right location. There is a lot of human overlapping here to where some of what we're witnessing could be man-made stuff, could be people parking up here, could be satellites in the sky. But we're going to try to filter through all of that and get to the bottom of it and get the real thing. There's no reason why we can't sit out here and do this just ourselves. And the fact that you're all watching from home, it doesn't matter that you're not here with me. It could be a week from now, from when I'm sitting right here, could be a month from now, or even a year from now. If you're watching this video, your consciousness quantum entangles to this moment and also participates in the manifestation of what could happen. And this journey is going to go on and on. Like the whole encounter with Chris Bledsoe, where there's supposed to be a whole encounter with the lady, a supernatural entity that appears that is like a female entity, is supposed to happen in 2026 on Easter. And I know that Chris Bledsoe's even talked to me about coming out and doing stuff with me or having me be there with him when that occurs. Like I'm supposed to be allowed to film it. Like maybe I'm the one that will be given permission to film this event on camera. So part of what we're doing, even if we don't see anything in the sky today, I'm not trying to be some kind of a prophet or something that can summon this, and I'm definitely not trying to start any kind of a cult. I just think that it's really fascinating if we have the potential to do this. If we can come out here and see something, then why not? In fact, I don't know, sometimes when I'm filming these videos and I get talking, you guys notice stuff in the sky in the background even when I'm not paying attention, so you'll have to let me know if you see anything. But I'm gonna just keep getting into it here, quit talking, I'm gonna sky watch for a minute and we'll see if we see anything. How cool would it be to see a UFO like crystal clear in the sky? A lot of you say, why don't you put your camera on a tripod? I'll tell you what, when you put it on a tripod, it is a lot harder to track things in the sky than you would think. If something is moving fast, it is very difficult to keep it in frame. In fact, when you put your camera on a tripod, it's hard to even film the moon because the moon is moving so fast. So when people talk about UFOs and stuff, that's even more difficult. But that's iPhone zoom. You can zoom all the way in. It's not too bad. So far, just relaxing and meditating. It's difficult to film and do this at the same time, but I'm doing my best. Sitting there for millions of years, baking in the sun. It almost looks like a meteorite. It's some kind of a big cat. Something just moved around in the rocks up there behind me. But anyway, we'll be careful. That was a gunshot. Somebody just shot a gun. My intuition, my spidey sense went weird, and then I just heard somebody shooting a gun.